Hello everyone, my name is ABA Pickle, and welcome back to Aliens Fireteam Elite. Today we're going over another class build, guide, review, whatever you want to call it, over another class in Aliens Fireteam Elite. So, last time we went over the Recon that never reloads, a build that auto-reloads its weapons as often as possible. Today, we're going over a boy who joined us in Season 3, the Lancer. So there are going to be two builds I'm going to show you today, one that's dealing with mainly crowd control and the other one that's single target damage. Starting off with the crowd control build, there are two weapons I recommend you bring: the auto shotgun, the Type 76, and the heavy pulse rifle. So for the auto shotgun, the build you're going to want to pull out is the ported compensator for that fire rate and stability, the casket mag for the fire rate and max ammo, and the hybrid sights for accuracy and weak point damage. This is a really solid build. It's the same build I had for my Recon, and typically I'm going to build the same weapon the same way on every class, and I highly recommend you do the same unless you're doing something specific. So the reason I chose this is because it's really good at crowd control. It does really good damage to big hordes of enemies. It's not bad at single target damage, but it definitely excels more at handling lots of enemies rapidly. And then the other weapon is the M41E4 heavy pulse rifle. If you've ever used this thing before, you know this thing is very powerful but very unruly. The build I like to go with for this one is I like to add stability as much as I can. So once again, we're going with a ported compensator because you get that 40% stability. The barrel, you get fire rate and stability, another 40%. And the armature, we got reload speed and another 30% stability. So we have 110% stability, which if you don't know what that looks like on this thing, as it keeps on firing and you have those max Overwatch stacks, you can see that is a very tight little reticle. That's going to make this thing a whole lot more consistent and make you able to handle bigger targets when they come around, but also it's really good for hordes as well, just with how big it is and heavy. So when it comes to the perks, we're going to be going over a very basic build today. For the particle lance, which if you don't know what that is, big laser go whap. We are going with 22% damage, 13% damage, 18% damage, adding up to 53% ability damage on the particle lance, making it hit like a truck. You have quick charge, which gives you 13% recharge speed. You have rapid deployment, which gives you another 20%. And then you have residual charge, which when you kill an enemy, it leaves an AoE static damage area. So basically like, oh, electric, it damages them. Which is really nice when you're dealing with hordes of enemies. You get a line of them down and the other enemies will walk over it, damaging them further. So that's pretty simple. You can also see we have Jackpot on this class. It is a perk that I highly recommend running on every single build for the most part, because killing big creatures and then getting your ammo or your gun automatically reloaded is chef's kiss. So for the Onslaught, if you don't know what Onslaught is, it immediately reloads your current weapon, then slows your movement speed and fire rate by 20%, but increases your damage and damage resistance by 20%. So if you hit all your shots, you're still putting out the same amount of damage. Your weapon automatically reloads after every shot. Basically, you're firing from reserves instead. You're not firing from your clip. So this is really good for just mass DPS. You see a big boy, pop this and just start pumping out that damage as fast as you can. Keep in mind that minus 20% fire rate, because that's we're going to revolve this build around, or just what we're going to revolve builds around in general for the Lancer. And then we also have increased duration, increased duration, increased duration, leading to 51% added ability duration. So this thing lasts for a long time. Then to cover the passive, we have Overwatch. While standing still or in cover, you gain 1 stack of Overwatch a second, up to 5. Overwatch increases accuracy, damage, and stability by 3% per stack. Now, if you do the math, 5 times 3 is 15% accuracy, damage, and stability. When you are out of cover and moving, you lose 1 stack of Overwatch a second. So basically, you can see my accuracy will go up. You can see my reticle slightly moving with each perk. And as I move, it'll go down. So basically, you're going to want to stand still as a Lancer as much as possible. But if we go to the other perks that I have attached, we have Relentless Advance. When Onslaught is active, you no longer lose stacks of Overwatch while moving, so it completely nullifies that entirely. You have Unshakable. Onslaught now grants immunity to most stuns, stumbles, and knockdowns, and grants 150 temporary health for its duration. Really great for dealing with big things so you don't activate the ability, get stumbled, and then feel like you wasted this ability, because it's a really good ability that goes on a really long cooldown. Next, we have when you activate the ability this perk is attached to, you gain max stacks of Overwatch. So when we use Onslaught, we max out Overwatch. When we are moving in Onslaught, we don't lose stacks of Overwatch. So that's just an added 15% damage boost when you use Overwatch. So this is the AoE build overall, and then for the consumables, you're going to want to use a cryo grid to keep everyone in place because it straight up just causes them to freeze. And then the vulnerability assessment drone, so you can get those easy crit kits. So this is the crowd control build. This is really good for dealing with giant hordes of enemies, really good for pathogen, and will tear through like hordes of Xenos, of like light Xeno. But say you have to take something heavier out, I'm gonna switch real quick, switch up this build, and see you guys in a second to show you what a good single target damage build looks like. Okay, so I have set up my Lancer now with the single target damage build. We are now dealing with a pump shotgun with border compensator because you want that fire rate. You have that alloyed chamber, which gives you that fire rate and magazine capacity. Then you have the hybrid sight for the added weak point damage. Those are the three things you want on the pump. For the smart gun, you're going to want tanker muzzle brake because this thing gives you a 33% chance to briefly stun enemies on hit. This effect can occur against the same target once every 15 seconds. If you don't know what that means, basically you shoot something, there's a 1 in 3 chance it's going to stumble it. You have to wait 15 seconds to do it again to the same target. But that also works for hordes of enemies. Just sweep across all the enemies and you got yourself a really good stun with how fast this thing fires. Polygonal rifling for fire rate, also 50% chance on hit to enemies take an additional 10% damage for 5 seconds. So you hit someone with 2 bullets. There you go, 10% more damage. Perfect. When it comes to the perks, attached to Particle Lance, you have Quick Charge 4, increase the recharge speed of an ability by 22%. And then you're also putting on Particle Wave. We're going to save this description for later. I'd like to talk about the rest of the build to give full information on why this is important to the build. We have Omniscience. Overwatch can now stack up to 6 times, and you lose 1 stack of Overwatch after 3 seconds of movement, as opposed to every 1 second of movement, which is 3 times the amount of movement, which is great. You got Tenacious, which Onslaught lasts 20% longer and grants 5% more weapon damage and damage resistance, which is fantastic. So that's 25% damage and damage resistance whenever you use Onslaught. You use Unshakable, so Onslaught grants me stuns, stumbles, and knockdowns, plus the temporary health. And then you're going to notice the rest of it is just Mastery. So, for the close quarters weapons, the CQW, we're going to be using the Technician's Training. If you don't have this leveled up, like all the classes leveled up, it'd be a really good time to level those up so you can get these perks. Because this single target damage build is typically for like extreme is what it's aiming for, or intense sometimes, depending on how good you are. So having these added perks from the other classes is vitally important. So with this, you get reload speed and accuracy for close quarters weapons by 15%. Gunner CQW expertise, you can get the reload speed by 15%. Gunner CQW mastery, which increases fire rate and accuracy. The fire rate counters the onslaught of the reduced fire rate. You have the fire rate plus 10% from the recon expertise, which counters the onslaught. Now for the heavies, you're using the demolisher heavy training, which increases max ammo and of heavy weapons and the reload speed by 15%. So the reload speed whenever you're not using onslaught will make it a lot faster when you go through that. Then you have the Lancer heavy expertise, which is it gives you fire rate when you aren't using onslaught, or fire rate when you are using onslaught, reload speed when you're not. Then you have the Demolisher heavy mastery, which gives you an extra 15% fire rate and stability to counteract the onslaught. So overall, this is giving you a lot of fire rate, a lot of reload speed, so you can put out as much damage as you possibly can. So when I was saying about particle wave, basically what you're going to want to do with this, to give you an example here, imagine a crusher is on his way to me. As soon as he gets in my face, I'm going to hit my particle wave, stun him. It stuns for 3 seconds and greatly increases your damage reduction or damage resistance. So The text reads, fires a short-range energy cone in front of you, damaging all enemies in its path. The cone passes through all foes, but is blocked by any terrain. Your damage resistance is greatly increased on activation, and struck enemies are stunned for up to 3 seconds. So, you're going to activate that. You're going to just stun that big boy. You're just going to start laying into him with the shotgun. As soon as your clip is empty, you're going to activate Onslaught, reloading your weapon, firing from reserves. By this point, whatever is in front of you is hopefully dead. If it's not, well, you're fucked. And then you want the smart gun, same thing. You guys got a big horde of enemies coming. You know, you just mow them down, and you can just keep on firing at it as it's coming close, stumbling it, keeping it at a distance. As soon as it's in a reasonable distance, that's when you switch, activate, and just start laying into it. This is a very good expert or higher build. This is definitely a single target damage meant to be played with a competent team. You will not be able to succeed alone with this with alpha and beta on intense, I don't think. I will probably get a gameplay going here with this build so you can see exactly how I play it. This is the one that I'm going to play. I'm going to try and find a group of 3, and that video footage will be up within, a week or so. Probably look for it next Friday at the latest. But if you learned anything from the Lancer, definitely let me know down below, and let me know what class you'd like to see me cover next. My name's ABA Pickle, and I stream on Mondays and every other Saturday at 6 p.m. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button, like if you enjoyed, and comment down below anything you want to let me know. If you want to just say have a great day, I enjoyed your video, laughs, haha. If you want to tell me a stupid joke you found on the cap of a Snapple, please let me know. I enjoy stupid jokes. But anyway, my name's ABA Pickle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!